and zoom back in, we have another one, unfortunately, that I got wrong. Man, Florida State, what a performance. What a performance. My question was, how many possessions will the Crimson Tide win by? And it felt like that was going to hold true, especially at that first touchdown drive, and then it just fell apart. As I'm pulling out the stat line, Florida State's defense, man, they did an excellent job, only allowing Alabama 87 yards on the ground, another shutdown of the ground and pound. I think they ended up with 7 tackles for loss. So you had some individual efforts that made up a lot of 3rd and long scenarios for the Crimson Tide offense. And it kind of reversed the question. Well, how many possessions are Florida State going to win by here? And they won by a decent amount, 31-17. Yeah, not that I didn't see this coming, but man, this would if anything, if Florida State, in my mind, if like, okay, Florida State wins this game, how do they win this game? Well, probably by a close margin. But 31-17, that was just so much farther than as expected. And you guys, the Seminoles O-line, I still didn't think they protected Tommy Castellanos enough, because Tommy Castellanos is so athletic. He was able to maneuver around outside the pocket, made some incredible plays on the ground. He had 6 carries for 78 yards, 152 through the air, 9 throws for 14 attempts. So he's going to be more of a guy used on the ground, and then in the moments where he needs to pass it, play action, stuff that's more through the air in design, that might work out in the long run. We'll see what Gus Malzahn, who probably just really wanted to show up against Alabama. He's a former Auburn head coach from a while ago now. But yeah, I think that was also kind of the circumstance in this one. Of why Florida State did so well. Their offense just was overwhelming on top of their defense performance. Again, 7 tackles for loss. You're going to have a really, really good time. Ty Simpson, I think towards the end, was a little bit more solid. You saw him put his body on the line a little bit and trying to get some first downs to allow Alabama to stay on the field. But we'll see. I mean, he didn't throw an interception. I don't think there was another turnover besides. Oh no, he had a fumble, but it didn't look like it. On the stat line, it wasn't for a loss, because I didn't get to tune into this game for the whole 4 quarters. There was a punt return that was muffed for Florida State, so it did look like Alabama was going to be able to come back into this. But Florida State, their defense just was the difference in this one. And yeah, we'll see if Ty Simpson continues to be QB1. I did say Simpson's going to show why he was going to be QB1 in this one. But yeah, he just wasn't enough. And then on top of that, they lose Jam Miller the week before the season starts. On top of that, even more, we already talked about the Michigan-New Mexico game and how Justice Haynes had an amazing outing in his debut as a Wolverine. Having those 2 guys not in the backfield, I understand you got Richard Young, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley was also featured. Those guys just are not in the same caliber or range that the 2 that I previously mentioned are in. And yeah, if Alabama doesn't have that kind of talented running back, this might be somewhat of an issue. The offensive line, especially on that right side, it doesn't look like the run game's going to be all right. It's kind of the opposite. So like the right side of the offensive line, better pass blockers, not so good in the run game. Then the other side on the left, you have Dewberry and Proctor. They're going to be better run blockers, but not so good in the pass. So there's got to be some adjustments. I don't know exactly what the approach is going to be going into the coming weeks. They have an easy home game this upcoming weekend against, I think, an FCS opponent or lower end FBS team. So it'll be a decent bounce back. My points difference obviously wasn't even close. I was like, Alabama, they're going to win by like 3 possessions. They lose by almost 2. Just very disappointing. You just thought that Alabama would be able to turn it on. I mean, we talked about the Jam Miller loss, and then you have Tim Keenum III, who also is undergoing some early season surgery that's going to put him out for the first half of the season. just constantly losing guys as you're anticipating them to be in the lineup. As a coaching staff, you're probably like a little panicky, but you're probably also like you're gonna lean into your talent. Where Alabama, it just didn't work out. I don't believe that Alabama's dominance is going to be over. I think it's just going to be a rough going, to be quite honest with you. There's no one that's going to be able to be ever like Nick Saban. The next guy, even after Kalen DeBoer, you're going to try to want to get closer, but you're never going to be able to do the way Nick Saban did it, especially in the era it was. You're never going to have that ever again. That's just, it was so such a phenomenon when you kind of think about it, of how Alabama was so dominant. But that was because of the details, the way he handled his staff. Even after winning a national championship, I just read a book this past offseason, finished, and Lane Kiffin would be talking about how after they won a natty, the next morning they would have a team meeting, and like Nick Saban would be on their ass, and like we weren't not good enough. Our offense, I think it was the Tua switch game where he came in for Jalen Hurts, came in clutch, and it was like talking about how the offense just wasn't good enough. How can we get better? Is Kalen DeBoer kind of setting that standard? Probably not. He's probably just a little bit more, I wouldn't say lax, but has a different approach. Obviously, we have a different generation of players on top of that he's probably dealing with too. So you kind of have all of those different variables, and you're never going to probably get it right, or even, again, close to the legendary tenure that Nick Saban had in Tuscaloosa. Regardless, Florida State will eventually fall apart. It's just going to happen. I think these Florida schools, they just do well at home and behind their home crowds. It's just when they go on the road, that's where we see these teams be a little bit more caught off guard. And that's kind of what I'm expecting. I don't have a lot of faith in Mike Norvell in general. I've never really liked him as a coach. Unfortunately, it's a personal beef, not because like me personally with him, but like past teammates that he's kind of pushed to the side, that he's had available on his roster, his depth chart, where I'm like, he doesn't usually get the most out of players. It's kind of players that are willing to sacrifice for him rather than giving like a proper player a chance to kind of prove that he belongs on the field. Is kind of like the reason why I have that beef with Mike Norvell. But again, just like Miami, one of these schools in the ACC that are not better than this Florida school out of Tallahassee, they're just going to drop a game, and it is what it is. And we'll be like, oh, well, that's a game that they drop. Well, I was already predicting it going into the season, but unfortunately, we have this game as I think it's going to be somewhat of a blip. Not that Florida State's going to be losing a lot of games, but they'll lose some ones that were like, what happened? You guys beat Alabama this year. I'm like, yeah, but you guys haven't really looked at this roster. It's not as good, I think, as people think it is, but they definitely like showing up to big games. But yeah, let's keep moving on. As Tommy Castellanos did an amazing job and getting the job done. We'll see if Alabama continues to struggle against dual threat quarterbacks.